Iran's Revolutionary Guard say they reserve the right to respond to any U.S. ceasefire violations. The statement comes after American forces attacked missile sites in southern Iran and boats attempting to lay mines. The U.S. alleges its strikes were defensive in nature, and the latest escalation in the conflict comes as talks to end the war continue over in Doha. This despite a last-minute call from the U.S. president that the Abraham Accords be expanded, a request which seems unlikely for now.
Straits have to be open. They're going to be open one way or the other. So they need to be open. What's happening there is unlawful, it's illegal, it's unsustainable for the world, it's unacceptable. And obviously that needs to happen immediately as soon as anything's agreed to.
For more on this story, we can bring in our international affairs editor, Philip Turle. Philip, good to see you. So Iran saying it reserves the right to respond to those U.S. strikes. The U.S. says its strikes were defensive in nature, not offensive in nature. What's happening now? Is this war resuming, or is the ceasefire still in place?
Well, officially, the ceasefire is still in place, and there is a 60-day extension which is being discussed as part of the overall joint agreement, a joint comprehensive plan of action, which is under discussion between the two sides. What the United States, I think, is doing is it's getting frustrated with the slow pace of these negotiations. Iran, on the other side, is trying to buy time because it knows the longer it can spin all this out, the more time it will have to rebuild its drones, its army, and its defensive mechanisms to be able to keep a grip on what's going on in the country and also defend itself from attacks from either its neighbours or from the United States. So the US is getting frustrated, and it's launched these attacks to put the pressure on Iran to come up with some kind of deal as quickly as possible, basically because Donald Trump needs a deal quickly. He's the one who doesn't have time on his side with the upcoming midterm elections, the growing pressure on his shoulders from public opinion in the United States to get this over and done with. Over 60% of Americans don't agree with the war in Iran, so he needs to get this done quickly, and the Strait of Hormuz opened. So that's why we've seen these attacks overnight. But there's been a response from the Iranians in the last hour or so, the foreign ministry saying the US has violated the ceasefire in the Hormuz-Gan area, and it will respond. They will not hesitate in defending itself. And also the 14-point memorandum understanding. They want the unfreezing of Iran's funds. It's the last sticking point before there's going to be some kind of deal. That is a very difficult situation for the US, because if it unfreezes those funds, it's going to be seen as playing in favor of the Iranians, giving them more than they would have got under the original joint comprehensive plan of action that was signed under Barack Obama back in 2015. And there are vast amounts of money which are concerned by this, up to about $120 billion worldwide, including $2 billion in the United States. So we don't really know, Delano, where this is going right now. There are statements from left and right and centre saying, yeah, we're on the point, we're on the cusp of getting an agreement, and then backpedaling, saying, no, there's no agreement, we'll have to wait. Yes, there is agreement on many points, but not all the points. So it's very unclear about exactly where this is going.
And we also yesterday had the U.S. President Donald Trump seem to, on a whim, say he wants to also expand the Abraham Accords. This was not something that was discussed earlier, and he wants countries like Saudi Arabia, like Pakistan, to also jump on board. How likely is that going to happen?
Well, to be quite honest, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, because the countries concerned, notably Saudi Arabia, they are not going to join the Abraham Accords until there is some kind of breakthrough in the conflict in the Gaza Strip. They've made it pretty clear that they are against what Israel is doing. They want a Palestinian state. They're not going to normalise ties with Israel right in the middle of the attacks in the Gaza Strip and also the attacks in southern Lebanon. So I think that's a long shot on the part of Donald Trump. What Donald Trump is trying to do here is basically to placate the Israelis. He said that he backs Israel's campaign of bombing raids in Lebanon, in the southern part of Lebanon. Why is he doing that right now? Because he wants to annihilate Hezbollah's ability to fire drones into northern Israel, and that is something that Benjamin Netanyahu has made pretty clear that he's not going to let up on. Hezbollah has said that it will not stop it sending in those drones until there is a total ceasefire and that all Israeli troops are pulled out of southern Lebanon. So there also there is a lot that is still needing to be solved, and it doesn't look like there's going to be any solution to that soon. And that's also one of the major points in the negotiations between the United States and Iran, is finding a solution to the situation in Gaza and also in southern Lebanon.